So I want to talk to you about why I talk about self-help and the fact that it doesn't work. And mostly the reason why I do that is because I myself was on this self-help journey, this healing journey, and it really wasn't working out for me. And I was on that journey for, I don't know, 13 years ago. It started when I was pregnant when I was 16. I knew I needed to live and lead a different life. I wasn't happy with who I was, and I knew if there was any chance of me raising a decent human being that I needed to get it together. And so it was really motivating for me, but I was just constantly downward spiraling and addicted to bettering myself and constantly feeling defeated because there was ultimately nothing I could do. I'm sorry I keep looking that way. I think my meter reader is being read out my window. Anyways, the truth is that I was getting to know more of me and who I have been all throughout my life, but I didn't know Jesus, and yet I had came to Christ when I was 17 years old. And so in the midst of getting to know myself better and why I am the way I am and really justifying myself and why I've become this person, why I'm a liar, why I'm an adulterer, and all these other things, I really never encountered Jesus, which just seemed really wrong by the time I realized it, because my testimony of even knowing God was real was a near-death experience. And so it's like I knew that we had a supernatural God, and by the time I heard about Jesus a year later, it's like I knew in my heart that it was true, and yet what about this changed my life actually and changed me? And the answer is nothing. I wanted to change myself, and it wasn't working. You know, I tried. I was relentless about it, but I kept making the same mistakes over and over again to the point where really I was addicted. I was addicted to bettering myself. And I would do all these things. I was working out like crazy. I stopped taking all of my medication, you know, anxiety meds, antidepressants, sleeping medicine, stuff for kidney disease even. I just stopped because I wanted to be better. I didn't want to be the person who was, you know, taking pills. It felt very unchristian of me. I had, you know, two brothers that were addicts, an ex-boyfriend, you know, my daughter's father, who was also an addict. And it's like, how can I sit here and act like it's okay for me to take these medications while judging the addict and resenting them and ultimately blaming my ex for the position that I was in, for his condition, when I was just an emotional train wreck when I wasn't on those medication. I wasn't sleeping without that medication. And so my point is, anyways, is that I was always looking for this new solution of how I can help me, whether it was how I can sleep or how I can take better care of my body, what I can do to take care of my mind, things that I can do to not be a liar anymore. I used to wake up every day and look in the mirror and tell myself I will not be defeated, because I was living with kidney disease and digestive disease. I was in debilitating pain, and yet all the things that I did to help myself, like smoking a lot of weed, even though it like kind of helped keep me calm and it helped me sleep and all of that, at the end of the day, it wasn't working. I was defeated. I was stressed out. I was addicted to bettering myself, and yet I was still hating myself. And the reality is, guys, is that we are so busy trying to figure out our own truth and become this best version of ourselves when we don't know Jesus. And so this is really the opposite direction of what we would go if we were to really discover ourselves. And so Jesus is the way, he is the truth, and he is the life. And so we don't know the truth unless we know Jesus. And yet we think or expect that on this self-help, this healing journey, that we would somehow meet him along the way. But again, the opposite is true. It's when we know Jesus that we come to know ourselves. And I just really want to encourage you today, if you are addicted to bettering yourself, or if you feel defeated and trying to, you know, make changes in your own lives, you need to depend on God. And moreover, you need to live surrendered to God, because I didn't see any real change in my life until I was on my knees, sobbing, begging God for help. I had to be in the place and actually the position, sobbing on my knees and really giving it all to God to see him move in my life. You know, I posted a video a little bit ago that says, "You're the new thing. What are you going to do about it?" And it's kind of like that. If you know Jesus, what are you going to do with this information? If he made you new, what are you going to do with that? Who are you going to be? And the answer should be led by the Spirit, because we can't do anything in our own strength. And that's why self-help doesn't work. We can't do it in our own strength. We need him. We depend on him. We need to be desperate for him. But also, we need to not be so desperate that we are stressing ourselves out and trying to do it all on our own, because again, we need Jesus. So I hope that this makes sense to you, because it seems like a contradiction, but like I said, we're kind of doing the opposite of what we need to do to really find who we are. And you know, so many of us are on a purpose journey. We want to discover God's will for our lives, and we simply can't do that in and within ourselves. We need to go to God about it, and he's answering it, and he's telling us, guys, and we're just acting like we don't hear him. We're ignoring him. We're completely ignoring that he has an assignment for us, and we keep trying to go our own way, and we're really being reckless with our own lives. Some of us have kids, you know, I'm guilty. I was being reckless and making choices that really negatively affected my children. And so I just want to remind you guys that self-help has to do with you, and it has nothing to do with Jesus.